Hi, welcome to Justice and Teacher Preparation. I am Delane Benderslack.
And I'm Lauren Angelone, and we're from Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio.
So I'm going to quickly talk about how I've internationalized the courses that I teach in teacher education. And I want to start with a quick definition of critical literacy. So critical literacy-derived activities position learners to allow and encourage them to question, to analyze, to resist, and act on injustices and oppression. And they require students to consciously engage, take responsibility, to inquire, to be reflective, and to entertain alternate ways of being. And so I really, one of the things I did is incorporated global dispositions into my course, and there are lots that you can choose from, but I went with those from the Asia Society. And those are, the first one is students investigate the world beyond their immediate environment. Number two, students recognize perspectives, others and their own. And then number three is about communicating your ideas effectively with diverse audiences. And number four is that students take action then to improve conditions, viewing themselves as players in the world. And so four of the ways that I have been able to work at internationalizing my courses, one is through COIL, which is Collaborative Online International Learning. You could also just do a simple virtual exchange, but the idea is that you plan an experiential intercultural project with students. So your students are working with students abroad, and you could engage in activities such as synchronous group discussions, reflections. There's through COIL a final project that all students do, such as creating a photo essay together. The last one I did, they were writing haikus together. The second way that I've internationalized my courses is by incorporating global texts. So I've shared those global dispositions with my students, but also it might be when I'm teaching something like pre-reading strategies, I'm going to use global picture books, or when I'm teaching monitoring or post-reading strategies, I use globally themed articles. So purposefully incorporating global text into the classroom. The third way is through revising assignments and assessments. So looking at what I'm already teaching and then figuring out, well, how could I incorporate something global into this? And so one way to do that is, for example, through a vocabulary activity, incorporating that students should include linguistic and visual clues for English learners. And lastly, adding activities and assignments is another way. So clearing some things out of your course and incorporating, for example, we did a disciplinary jigsaw investigation where students could investigate how their discipline was taught in another country.
The justice work I'd like to share with you began with a project in my instructional technology class. In this class, we build personal learning networks, which are informal networks that teachers create through social media and professional organizations mainly, in which they follow certain hashtags and listservs in order to participate in a community that is customized to their own professional learning. So in my instructional technology class, I had students create their own PLN and participate in Twitter chats as one component of the project. This is where I saw an opportunity to make issues of justice more explicit. Last year, I started our own class Twitter chats as part of the students' PLN projects. Twitter chats are typically chats that take place on Twitter at a specified time, for example, 7 p.m. EST, first Wednesday of each month. And an organizer posts a series of questions throughout the hour using the Q1 format plus the hashtag. And then teachers respond to the questions by replying or retweeting using the A1 format plus the hashtag. So answer one in response to question one. There are dozens of Twitter chats going on each day all around the world. In my class, I created a slow Twitter chat that students could participate in throughout the week using the hashtag #TechForJustice. So during these chats, I started with the topic of the digital divide, which was formerly the only place I truly engaged issues of equity in my instructional technology class. But then each week, as we studied new technologies, such as Book Creator to support the creation of books by young learners, I then married that Twitter chat with a discussion of queer critical media literacy, so that as pre-service teachers were learning to help their own students create knowledge through digital media via Book Creator, they were also considering the issues of justice related to how gender is portrayed or how different types of families may or may not be represented in texts. Each of these Twitter chats was intended to support a critical media literacy, one in which pre-service teachers could help develop a critical stance toward the media and tools of the media that they will employ in their future classrooms, especially now after the pandemic. There is a lot more technology being used. This was intended to push against a tech evangelism that creeps into the uncritical use of instructional technology. So that's where, any new tool is used at all costs. The newer the tool, the better. So instead, throughout this work, students will showcase critical media literacy, and they did. But there were also a lot of simple just answering of questions and agreeing with one another. So there's certainly room for more analytical work through the framing of the questions in the Twitter chats. Which leaves us with our key takeaways on teaching justice and teacher preparation. An explicitly taught critical stance is essential, as a disposition or kind of general stance towards issues of justice often don't support the specific action and application that we're looking for. And this goes for us as teacher educators as well. We must continue to learn what it means to support justice in our classrooms through reading, action, and lifelong learning.